Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into the cosmic blueprint for July 12, 2026, and breaking down exactly what the stars have lined up for us today. Whether you're trying to perfectly optimize your schedule, sidestep some potential roadblocks, or just want to understand the underlying vibes driving your decisions, we've got you covered. Astrology gives us this incredibly practical lens for mapping out the day, and we're going to jump right into the specific mechanics of these transits.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll breeze through the daily Panchang, break down a really brilliant formula for the Tithis, and touch on what Trayodashi means for women's health. After that, we'll weigh the auspicious and inauspicious effects of today's nakshatras, unpack how to make incredibly accurate predictions, and wrap it all up with today's special remedies.
All right, part one. Let's set our foundation for the day by looking at the core astrological elements that define this Sunday.
So, we're looking at a highly auspicious Sunday that's carrying the energy of the Trayodashi Tithi. Now, our source points out that Trayodashi is a Jaya Tithi, which basically means it inherently brings victory and carries this fiercely active, almost Mars-like energy. When you pair that aggressive go-getter drive with a Sunday, you get an environment absolutely primed for achievement. Add in a powerful Guru Pushya Yoga, formed because Jupiter is in the Pushya Nakshatra, and it means whatever actions you take today are naturally going to lean heavily towards success. Plus, having the auspicious Rohini Nakshatra and the Jupiter-influenced Gar Karan in the mix, it just totally solidifies today as a period of tremendous supportive energy.
Moving right along to Section 2. Before we get too deep into the weeds with Trayodashi, there is a wonderfully simple formula from our source to instantly grasp the vibe of any of the 15 lunar days.
If you just mentally group the 15 Tithis into 3 distinct buckets, Vedic astrology goes from feeling like complex math to really intuitive psychology. Days 1 through 5, that's entirely about your interaction with yourself, your physical body, your personal foundation. Days 6 through 10 expand outward. It's you and somebody else, representing partnerships and direct one-on-one relationships. And finally, days 11 through 15, which notably includes our current Trayodashi Tithi, that's your dynamic with literally everyone around you. It's the phase of collective energy, dealing with society and broader external forces. It's just a fantastic, easy framework to keep in your back pocket.
Okay, Section 3. Let's look at how this broad collective energy trickles down into a very specific and frankly critical warning derived right from our source material regarding women's health.
The source poses a highly targeted question: who exactly faces long-term struggles with childbirth and marriage? It's one of those striking moments where cosmic timing directly intersects with our physical well-being.
The answer points straight to women who are born specifically on the Trayodashi Tithi. The source doesn't sugarcoat this at all. It's presented as a direct, observable correlation in astrological practice.
If this placement shows up in a chart, it means a predisposition to severe gynecological issues, persistent roadblocks in marriage, and significant challenges during childbirth. But hey, the absolute most important takeaway here is the mitigation. Seeing this in a chart isn't some reason to panic. It just means the individual needs to proactively seek out special astrological remedies to smooth out those long-term obstacles. In astrology, awareness is quite literally the very first step to fixing the problem.
Let's shift gears to Section 4. Jumping back to today's transits, we've got a really intriguing mix of energies that are urging both deep research and, surprisingly, extreme caution.
We're looking at a fascinating contrast today between two highly active energies. On one side, Rohini is laying down a foundation of pure auspiciousness, even forming a Sarvarta Siddhi Yoga, which is basically a cosmic green light for success. But then you have Mrigashira, which brings a totally different vibe. Mrigashira is your go-to energy for what the source beautifully calls the search of light. When this is active, it is hands down the best day to put your head down, do some focused research, and finally crack the code on those stubborn, long-standing problems that have been dragging you down.
Throw Vriddhi Yoga into the mix, and it gets even better. This yoga tells us that any research or investigating you do today needs to be driven by joy and creativity. Your mantra for today is learning by enjoyment. Since Sunday is governed by the sun, which represents the soul, whatever you're working on today should genuinely light you up. If you're trying to solve a problem, tackle it in a way that feels expansive and fun, not like a chore.
But, and this is a major but, we have to mention the catch. The specific combo of the Trayodashi Tithi and the Mrigashira Nakshatra today creates a subtle undercurrent of inauspiciousness. Simply put, today is absolutely not the day for wild gambles, risky behavior, or what the source perfectly calls misadventures. Keep your research safe and in your comfort zone, and definitely do not go taking reckless leaps into the unknown today.
Moving into Section 5, accurate predictions. how do we actually take all these moving planetary parts and use them to predict real outcomes in our daily lives?
Our expert drops a really bold philosophy right here. Astrology isn't just some esoteric theory you read in a book once and forget about. It is the biggest applicable science. It's an active, practical toolkit meant to be used every single hour of your day to optimize how you work, how you connect, and how you make decisions.
And to get that level of everyday mastery, you don't need to get lost in insanely convoluted theories. True predictive accuracy comes from relying on the brilliant, fundamental principles of Parashari astrology, specifically Aruda and Badak. By just understanding how these basic building blocks interact, we can map out our day with incredible precision. Let me show you exactly how this plays out psychologically right now.
Let's break this narrative down. Because the moon is in Taurus today, that represents your immediate physical reality, where you're sitting, grounding yourself and doing your work. But why are you working? If we count 4 houses backward, we land on Aquarius. And in this context, Aquarius represents a lingering, deep sense of mental dissatisfaction. So the prediction is profound. It is literally your current inner frustration that is actively driving you to hustle so hard right now. You're working to fix that Aquarian unrest, and that drive is steering you straight toward the unshakable stability of Taurus. It's an incredibly empowering way to view your daily grind.
Finally, we hit section 6. Let's wrap up this explainer by looking at some highly actionable daily advice derived right from these planetary alignments. To really optimize your Sunday, try aligning your heavy lifting tasks with the specific planetary hours, the horas, of Mars and Venus to harness their supportive energies. Also, just be mindful of traditional concepts like Lata and Vada. They act like invisible cosmic speed bumps, and just knowing they're there helps you navigate around them. And for a delightfully easy, practical remedy, just chew on a betel leaf or pan before you step out of your house today. It adds a guaranteed little layer of auspiciousness as you go about your business.
So as we close out today's explainer, I want to leave you with a question based on today's cosmic blueprint. Is that lingering dissatisfaction you're feeling right now actually the exact fuel you need to build long-lasting stability in your life? Keep that thought in the back of your mind as you navigate your day.